to show, we'll be providing some sample data and of the process. So this will be part of the course material, and I will. So there are three maps that we will provide as sample data. One, it's a relative green map following Dr. Charles' method, where a map with sufficient nitrogen or deficient nitrogen is produced. And that's a relative green comparing with a 20% with higher or with a darker green color. Then the second map would be a yield potential map, such as this in this case, and following the recommendations, this would have below 15 bushels per acre would not be profitable to treat, and it's identifying, based on that relative green map, it's identifying areas with higher than 15 bushels per acre potential yield loss, and with a graded color towards the red with the areas with higher potential yield loss. And then based on that, a prescription map is produced. And
right, but
yes.
In this particular field, I would look at this map, and if I was the producer, I'd make the decision not to treat at that point, because the green areas, you're going to be either not profitable or borderline profitable. The areas where you're going to be profitable are small, and they're at the margins of areas that, at least as far as the imagery process can tell, are drowned out and don't have a decent stand left there. Now, the large area at the north end of the field, I might want to actually ground truth it and see if I've got plants there, because if they're small enough, the image, you just can't tell for sure. And if I saw, hey, I actually have a good stand here, they're sorry looking, but they're all alive, then I would look at treating if I was able to make that determination. But other than that, the areas where you're going to make money are small enough in this field that it probably wouldn't be a good decision to treat. But if you're driving along the road at the south end of that field, what you could see might lead you to want to treat. And if you were to send an applicator in there, it might be the wrong decision. And that's the great thing about remote sensing, is you can see from above what's going on, the whole situation, and then make your decision.
Well, thank you. So maybe for the sample data, we could choose another field. Or we could leave this as an example where the decision, because also it's a possible decision not to treat.
Sure, absolutely. That's just as important as the decision to treat.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you make more money on a decision to treat than you lose on the wrong decision to not. If you decide to treat and it's the wrong decision, you don't lose as much money as if you decide to not treat and that's the wrong decision. But either way, you're losing money if you make the wrong decision. And so supporting the right decision is the important concept for the aerial image. But it wouldn't be a bad idea for us to explore and get another one into the samples that they can try that where the right decision would be to treat. And so we could work together on getting one in there.
Great. Well, thank you. And there's one other question from Alan. How much nitrogen was added in the comparison between urea, 28% ammonium nitrate, and burn effects?
Okay, the burn experiment was all done with 150 pounds of actual N. So what we were simulating in that experiment was a case where the corn got planted and the nitrogen never got applied before planting. So it was 0 pre-application and 150 pounds applied. Well, I mean, there was some treatments where it was applied, pre-emerge. So that was a 0-foot corn height. Some applied when it was 1 foot tall, 2 foot tall, 3 foot tall, 4 foot tall. And so at all of those dates, we applied it either broadcast or between the row with all the sources that you saw. And it was all at 150 pounds of actual N. So it was kind of a worst case scenario as far as putting on the most you'd ever want to put on, probably.
Okay. And I don't know if there are any other questions. If not, Peter, I don't know if you have...
I'll follow up real quickly with that when we've been doing the rescue nitrogen application, probably the most common rate we've used, if we've used a single rate, has been 50. We've done small plots when the producer didn't want to pull the trigger on spending money on nitrogen. We've usually done 50 and 200 just to have some small plots with a 200-pound rate to see whether 50 was enough or not, and to make sure that the rate that we were trying would give us absolute maximum yield. So we're looking at economics. We were just looking at what the corn could do, and when we saw a lot of stress, we did find that 50 was not enough.
Okay. Well, there are no other questions, and I don't know if Peter, if you have any final comments or.
No, just that I think remote sensing is a great tool, and it's it's just any crop you're working with, you can see deficiency, nitrogen deficiency, as a light green or yellow green color, and I think that's always going to be true. And using that to however is most advantageous to you in your situation, I think makes a lot of sense. And remote sensing is likely to be one of the tools that's going to help you use that to manage crop.
And just to add on top of that, we'll be providing more information on different options available. It's the market, or the options are evolving very quickly, from satellite providers and also the aerial imagery providers. The costs are going down year after year. And now we have started to do some research on unmanned area vehicles. So there are a number of options open, and even as we speak, we are analyzing different alternatives, and we'll be providing more information. But I think that the next couple of years we'll see more and more applications, because basically it's getting better resolution, lower cost, and something that's more accessible to the grower and to the consultant. So we'll be providing more information on that.
Yeah, Ed and I are working together on possibly commercializing the yield loss maps and N-rate maps that we were talking about today.
Yes, and for that we are studying the different alternatives, which seem very promising. It's evolving very rapidly. Since the start of the course till today, conditions have changed, and there are other options. There are other satellites that are going to be launched. So I think it's a very interesting possibility for next years. And of course, we're very interested also in applying in other crops. Next week we'll have a presentation on wheat and what Peter was mentioning on estimating protein content. And there's also some, in the test, there was also an intention to see if correcting nitrogen could be applied. So we'll be learning more from that. It's a trial that's being done in these days, so it's very recent. So with that, we're finishing almost in time today. Thank you again, Peter, for sharing your experience. We really appreciate it. And I'm sure this presentation opened a lot of questions. So we'll be following up with the participants. We'll be posting this recording in the course, online course site, and we'll be following up with some assignments, posting the sample data, this recording, and hopefully get good feedback from and questions, more questions from the participants. So thank you, everyone, and especially thank you, Peter, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Ed, and
thank
everyone
you.
else. Bye.